the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live, as always, in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very fun 3-hour program lined up today. Super solid guests, as always. Jeff Seeley on the Wyndham Championship coming up in an hour. His best bets there. Thor Nystrom on the show today. He is super strong on one player in the NFC North this year. We'll preview that team and that division with him. We'll do it on our own today as well a couple of times. And Lou Finicaro today with some best bets with NFL win totals coming up in a few hours. Heavy Major League Baseball card action today as well. And we will ask you about your biggest betting whiffs that you've ever had. I talked about one yesterday that I'm experiencing right now. Did not get down on Cal Raleigh when my buddy was urging me to back in late May at 120 or 125 to 1 to win the American League MVP. What are your biggest betting whiffs? But, Paulie, we are human. I know we're a sports betting network, which we're going to get into, but yet another sad day here as this continues. If you're like in our demo, if you're like in our age group, upper 40s, this is only going to continue to happen as, childhood heroes when we were growing up continue to get older. They're going to continue to pass away, which absolutely sucks. And is it safe to say that your hero as a kid? Ryan Sandberg?
Yeah, he's my favorite ball player.
Oh, man.
No doubt. And the connection you had with your dad, and he did everything. I mean, as they tweeted out, a 5-tool player and a model of consistency. He could hit for power. A second baseman wasn't doing what he was doing for power.
No,
I mean, the guy hit 40 home runs in a season, and when he retired, he had the most home runs ever from a second baseman. He was fast. He could steal bags. He was one of the best, if not the best, defensive second baseman I've ever seen. He went 123 games without an error. I think he went over 3-4 years without a throwing error, what he did. But it goes back to, in this time, you're only talking about 30 TV channels available. And every game was on WGN. Every game was on TBS. You'd watch the Cubs during the day. You had the Braves at night. And Bozo the Clown. I mean, you didn't have much. And then NBC, ABC, CBS. I mean, but there was, and then you rush home from school to watch the Cubs because until 1988, every game was during the day.
That's right.
And what he did was the numbers he put up, a great guy. And I just reading all the tweets and responses to some of the stuff out there on social media. I love how he played the game. And he was my favorite Cub. And I echo all the sentiments everyone's saying that, I love the guy, and he was unbelievable, and it was also sad that he only made the playoffs twice.
Oh, brutal. And so you told me this before the show started, when that 1984, and I've watched tons of videos, tributes to Ryan Sandberg in the last 10 hours. The game in June against the Phillies back in 1984, it's a totally different game. Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals.
Think about this. He went deep off Bruce Sutter twice, in the ninth and then in extra innings. Sutter was still in the game as the closer.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Well, the guy's also in the Hall of Fame and one of the best closers ever, and Sandberg made him look like a bum.
And Wrigley Field never looked like that until that 2015 playoff run and then 2016 when they won the World Series.
Yep.
But they did not make the playoffs. 84 was the first time since 1945?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That drought, yeah. So in 84, he hit 368 in the NLCS. They blew a 2-0 lead and lost in 5 to the Padres, missed on the World Series. And in 89, he hit 400 against the Giants. It was awesome. Maddox had a bad start, and Andre Dawson killed him. He had a knee injury, and he couldn't do it. But the Sandberg game, homered twice, drove in 7 runs. They beat the Cardinals 12-11 in 11 innings. They were down 9-3 in the game. He goes deep in the 9th. He goes deep in the 10th. And then they win it in extras.
Wild.
And that year, how about the year he had? He won the MVP. He hit 314, 19 home runs, 84 RBIs, 32 steals, 19 triples, 114 runs scored.
I remember the 19 triples.
Yeah, because no one had ever gone 20-20-20, I believe. And he was that close to pulling that off. Hit 40 bombs in 1990 and drove in 100 runs in 90 and 91.
Yeah, we'll never see this again. And I go back to exactly what you just said. Every game is on TV nowadays, right? Every game. And people have thousands of channels available, boom, at their fingertips. Back then, growing up, this is why when the Cubs won it in 2016, on social media, They were asking fans to fly the flag from all, and they were getting responses from every single pocket of the world because people grew up with this team.
That's right.
It didn't matter where you lived because, hey, they're on WGN. I have to go and listen to Harry Carey, Steve Stone, and I got to watch the games. And they were like the national team despite sucking for so long.
Yep.
I mean, I couldn't tell you, I grew up probably about 6 hours from Chicago. The amount of Cubs fans that I had in a small town growing up, and like Ryan Sandberg was the hero to every single one of them.
Yeah.
And it made sense because they had to watch their games. And again, no lights at Wrigley until the late 80s. So every game was on basically right after school or during the day anyway.
Yeah. And everyone loved Harry Carey, too.
Sure.
Come back home, put the ball game on. Absolutely. Bob Costas did the Sandberg game in June 23rd, 1984. He said Willie McGee, who had a hit for the cycle in the game, is the player of the game. And then that all changed with Sandberg's heroics. Bob Costas last night on Marquee Network paying tribute to Rhino.
But it's still heartbreaking. The fact that it doesn't come as a surprise, that it isn't a shock, doesn't lessen the heartbreak. He was only 65 years old, and until his cancer hit, and even a year ago when you and I were present at the unveiling of his statue, and he looked great, felt great. The cancer was in remission until only a couple months later it came back. At that point, you're looking at a 64-year-old man, or there's some video of it with his wife, Margaret, and the big crowd outside Wrigley Field. And that scene right there, which meant as much to me that day as anything else you could have mentioned, that all the ball players, I guess Craig Counsell led them out, all the ball players in uniform, showing the generational connections that are almost unique to baseball, and the respect shown for one of the great players in the franchise's history. That was such a perfect day in every way. And we had reason to believe that Ryan had many, many good years ahead with his family, with his grandchildren, and then it came back, and it's terribly sad. It's a cliche when you say that, yes, someone was great at what they did, but they were also a wonderful person. And sometimes that's only partially true. Ryan Sandberg was a heck of a good guy. And it's just heartbreaking that his life should be cut short.
Yeah, you can see it there. You could hear it obviously in the voice, getting super emotional with that. He was on that game in '84. What network?
NBC Game of the Week.
That game was the game of the week.
That was the coming out party for the Cubs and Sandberg as well. Like, hey, they're for real.
This is
something.
Did you see that Wrigley that day?
Mike Palm said it's the greatest game he's ever seen, regular season.
All right.
Regular season, he said.
Okay.
You're right about how the bleachers were going bananas.
Oh, my God. They were erupting the entire time.
Yeah, and then Dave Tooley retweeted it, and Mike Palm sent it to me as well. I think it's Baseball Nut. Just look at Dave Tooley on X. There's actual footage of the 4 minutes with Harry Carey on the call and how they got a standing ovation going into the bottom of the ninth because they were down 7-1 and 9-3. And it battled all the way back because they were the lovable losers and a joke at that point. And here they are making the playoffs. A guy I also loved his game, Mark Grace. You examine the offense and defense, you'll find some years when he was the best player you've ever seen in your life.
Wow.
I agree.
Wow.
I agree. And I love that Harry Carey would go to bat for him all the time. And even John Miller and Joe Morgan would do Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, and they invite Harry in the booth where he'd go tell Joe to his face, Sandberg was a better ball player.
Oh, sure he would. Harry didn't care.
Oh, he did.
Never cared.
Sandberg's the best second baseman I've ever seen. Right to Morgan's face. He goes, it's how I feel about it. I agree with Harry.
65 years old. Damn, that's way, way too young.
Yeah, that's
stinks, man.
Yeah, the week. Go back to our childhood and how everyone watched The Cosby Show. We lose Theo, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Hulk Hogan, Ryan Sandberg, Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, that's hardcore mid-'80s right there in the face.
What a 10-day stretch. Baseball this year, biggest names likely to be traded. The deadline's coming up in 2 days. This is per John Heyman. Stephen Kwan from the Guardians on the list. Good ball player. Dylan Cease rocked again last night.
Yeah.
Pulled after 4 2/3, hit on the hand. X-rays came back negative. Same thing with Suarez. He was hit on the hand. X-rays came back negative there. Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Charlie Morton went today for the O's. By the way, suddenly the piping hot Baltimore Orioles.
Toronto can't get anybody out.
Do they change their mind with this this young offense now? Really get it together here lately?
Yeah.
And then Robert from the White Sox as well.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting. ESPN.com today. They wrote about a bunch of teams and players that could be on the move that they would like to see happen. And David Schoenfield wrote that he wants to see the Orioles trade Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano to the Rangers. Now we're talking.
Not bad.
That would be huge injection right into that offense.
Yep.
If they could pull something like that off.
Yep.
Also, the Twins, possibilities here. The Twins trading Griffin Jacks and Willie Castro to the Phillies. The Pirates would land Keller from the Pirates, Duran from the Twins, both of them.
That'd be big.
I think they obviously need that. And how about this? The Guardians to trade Shane Bieber to the Cubs.
Likely. And there'll be a lot of people looking at his rehab start and how that goes in the minors.
Yep.
And checking that out. Nice to pick him up, right?
I would think.
Yep.
Give it a shot anyway.
Weird night last night. Sanchez had nothing. DeGrom got rocked. Big dogs cashing all over. Astros can't hit. Lose again. Clase gets on the paid leave list. Whoop, they blow the game in the ninth inning.
I got the Marlins. Palante turns into Cy Young.
Yeah, you're right.
Can't get a hit off the guy.
Yep.
Been absolutely terrible.
Final week to grab our football special, just $175. It expires Thursday night. Lock it in. Every best bet, every host, every guest. You get the NFL betting guide and the college guide that comes out next week. Become a subscriber and get it everything you want, the betting splits, the on-demand shows, and full access to vsin.com tools, analytics, and betting systems. Lock it in. $175 through the Super Bowl. vsin.com/subscribe.
NFC North up next. I'll file this under the optimism category, but I have them at least 1 year away.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Fun hour coming up in 15 minutes. We'll get your reaction to biggest betting whiffs in your career. Bottom of the hour, Thor Nystrom's going to join the program. We'll talk NFC North and Minnesota Vikings with him. Here we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Jeff Seeley joins the program to give out best bets with analysis for the Wyndham Championship. You can follow him on X. He is at Cupmaker Jeff, and the Cupmaker podcast is going to come out next week. Pal, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. So it's a par 70. My God, it's 7,100 yards. I might play well on this course. So what kind of guy are you looking at this week because of that?
Well, you know, what's interesting, Mitch, is really it brings so many people into play, right? When you play some courses that are just super long and it's difficult, or Augusta National is a good example, right? There's only a handful of people that can win at Augusta National. This tournament, when it's this short, and if you can keep it in the fairway, it brings a whole lot of people into play. So it makes for an interesting handicap this week, and one I think we're actually going to find some really good value.
All right. My guy now. I'm off the bandwagon. The last couple tournaments have been rough, but how about Ben Griffin? Can we get back on the bus?
They have been rough, Paulie, but I'll tell you what, I mean, he struggled the last 2 weeks, but as you know, absolutely on fire prior to that with a win and 5 top 15s. Just an easy name to click this week. Number 2 overall in my models. And really, there's nothing really wrong with his game. Even in the last 2 weeks, he just putted poorly. So if he can get the putter back on track, he grades out really well. I think he could rebound and get back in the form he was a few weeks ago. So again, at 25-1, I think it's a great price for Ben Griffin. And guys, it's not every week. It's very seldom, actually, that we get my number 1 rated player in the field at 30-1. But what a juicy price on Hideki Matsuyama. I mean, this guy is easily, just pure class, the best player in the field in terms of the last, 2, 3, 4 years. And he's been awful off the tee his last few events. But that's not really a thing here, right? You're gonna be hitting less than driver on a ton of holes here, and his iron play has been absolutely electric. He's averaged over 4 strokes on approach over the past 4 events, and an event like this where you use less than driver a lot of time, it's exactly what you want. And the putting's been really good with Hideki. That's usually a big issue. The last 4 months, he's been gaining an 8 out of 9 of his events. I think it's a great time to buy low on Hideki. 25-1 in the winner without market too, I think is a steal. So I'm all over Hideki this week.
Think about that for a second, Jeff. He's your number one rated golfer in the field. You said probably not close. You go back the last couple of years, that makes sense. And he's not even listed in the winner without market this week.
I know. I was worried about that when I clicked on that at first, Mitch, and I saw he wasn't in it, and then I saw he's 25-1. I'm like, this is my first bet of the week. It was. Yeah, I think that's a terrific bet this week.
Okay, so you're also on a former winner here, in really good form, loves the course. Tell us what you want to do overall with Lucas Glover.
Yeah, guys, he's 35-1, as you mentioned, Mitch. He's in great form. Finished 23rd at the Open and 2 top 10s prior to that. So I think that's helping to deflate his price a little bit here. That's why we're getting 35-1. But as you said, he's won here at less than driver course that can turn into a wedge fest. You want a guy like Lucas Glover, super comfortable here, 30-1 in the winner without markets, 35-1 outright. I think you just play him in the winner without just in case he finishes top 5 or so. So I really do. I like Lucas Glover. And what if I told you could get the number one guy in the field, strokes gained tee to green over the last 2 events at 60-1? And that's exactly what we have with Rico Hoey this week. His splits are pretty phenomenal. He gained 16 strokes tee to green over his last 2 events, and he lost 11 strokes putting. So it's like you almost have to try to putt this bad. I don't remember the last time I saw someone putt this bad over 2 weeks. But what gives me faith that at all that to play him this week, he gained 3.4 strokes on these greens last year at the Wyndham. So if the ball striking keeps up and he can gain 3.4 strokes putting this week, he's going to win this event 60-1. Great price on Rico Hoey.
All right. And so the ladder job there with him as well?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think the fear though is, Mitch, right, is that if he putts like he has, then he may not make the top 20.
That's,
so
yeah,
if
there
I'm
you
on a
go.
ladder, I'm probably just going to play it 10-5 and outright, because if he gets hot, he's gonna sweep the top 10 market.
All right, you have one major bomb this week, and it's a guy who won on tour really not that long ago. Who is it?
Yeah, guys, Ryan Fox, 80-1, won just 6 weeks ago, and another guy who's struggled with the driver lately, but we're in a course where you don't need to hit your driver, and his irons can absolutely catch fire as well as his putter. So he missed the cut here last year, but he gained across the board everywhere except for putting. Putter's been in really good form for Ryan Fox lately, so at 80-1, very, very interested in this guy. Again, you said it. Guy just won 6 weeks ago on tour. The form's there. What a price on a guy that I think is certainly well within the range of winning this tournament.
Very good. Love the analysis. There you go. Follow him on X. He is at Cupmaker Jeff. Thanks, pal. Best of luck this week. We appreciate that.
Fellas, talk soon. Take care.
Well done.
Be good. There you go. And he was on the Progressive guest line. All right. Boy, great cases for all those guys, including Hideki, Lucas Glover, Hoey, Ryan Fox. Going to have a big portfolio this week, I think, in golf.
FTM at vsin.com. Tweet at us your biggest whiff. Some great responses already. Mayweather McGregor.
Oh, don't even.
Yep. It's got to be up there. No doubt about it. Kobe's last game, also from Colin. Jason didn't bet anything on Mayweather McGregor. Colin Murphy. How about Banchero to go number 1 when he shot up to 20-1?
Well, remember, that was because Woj dominated
right.
the market.
Yeah. He was saying Jabari Smith, right, or something?
Yes,
Was
that's
that,
right.
Do I have it right?
His word was as strong as oak,
right.
Much like in Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
And so when he tweeted, we were live on the air at the time. I think it was, I remember this, it was 5:41 a.m. Pacific time. He drops the Woj bomb. We're coming back from a break, like, oh my God, look at this. And Jabari Smith got his high, after that tweet, he got his highs like minus 10,000.
Yeah.
But it did not, it was wrong.
Yeah. Willie Beeman. The ladies are screaming. Are we living one right now? Just bet Scotty Scheffler, top 5 every tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
He's that good.
I guess. Okay, so you just nailed one, Paulie. That's the all-timer. I thought I had a good example with Game 7 Lakers-Kings after Game 6 was fixed, even though we didn't know about it. The McGregor-Mayweather thing will never get ever again.
No,
That was the best betting event of our lifetime.
It was one of the best boxers ever who's never lost against a UFC guy.
That's right.
And it was, the price was ridiculous.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, that was something.
What do you think about this one? Email ftm@vsin.com from Joe. The Golden Knights after the Vegas shooting tragedy.
Futures?
Well,
Is
he said
saying?
their first game at home, they were
Yeah.
$1.20 against the Coyotes. They killed them.
Yeah.
He said
Saints Monday night after Katrina.
Ow!
First game back.
There it was.
Yeah.
There it was. Another great example.
Yeah. Chris Berman. They wouldn't. The Steel Curtain Steelers weren't going to beat him that
That's
night.
right. Oh, that was an all-timer.
Yeah.
I whiffed on that one. I whiffed on thinking of a betting whiff. The
Right.
Saints, that was all-time gold right there, too.
Yep.
They were not losing that
I didn't
game.
see it, but that's
You didn't see it coming?
Should have been. Yeah. It was obvious. There's just the emotion and how they were coming out with their hair on fire, ready to go. They were awesome. In
Oh,
that
the
game.
block punt
The
right
block
away.
Punt.
It's over.
Yep. Good one.
Joe added that he was broke in college, but he bet his whole account on them. Well, so he did get down on it, but you look at that, you can never handicap human emotion. It's like, how about when, I'm not saying that we all whiffed on this one, but remember when Jose Fernandez for the Marlins got killed?
Yeah.
And then D. Gordon at home, like first at bat,
Yeah.
hits a home run. He's balling around second base, crying his eyes out when he's rounding second base.
Yeah. I know our guy Ozzy's listening too. TMI Ozzy. Can I just say bet against the Minnesota Vikings in every big game? I mean, what have they lost? 9 straight championship games? Yeah. Double-digit favorite, 98, lost at home. Favorite against the Giants, lost like 42-0.
Yeah, you can't trust him.
Favorite against the Saints.
Paul, look what happened last year.
The Keenum go right down the field against the Eagles, up 7-0. Foles, they take them out.
Blown out.
Right? What happened with Darnold?
Oh, this year might be different.
Yeah.
Are you there with McCarthy or no?
No, I'm not.
Here I am. I'm giving you like week after week to come around on J.G. McCarthy, and you won't get there.
Can't do it.
Boy,
I'm carrying a lot of pain.
what's going to happen when he's in the MVP conversation in November?
Come on.
I'll give you. How about this?
Come on.
You want to go completely contrarian, and I've thought about it. Like you've been sitting there, you won't even give McCarthy, a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
The two biggest contrarian MVP bets would be, I think, McCarthy on one of them, and I've come around on Aaron Rodgers.
You have not.
How about that?
What's wrong with you?
I think I'm in. I think I'm in.
How?
I'm not going to name names.
After how bad he was with the Jets, you're on.
Blacklisted on Hop Sings, not naming names.
Someone talked you into it, or you just said, I'm doing. You do your thinking on yourself.
The more I yearn,
you on drugs?
I sat there, and the more I hear people talk, the more I think that Rodgers was not awful last year. He was not the reason why they were losing those games, and he does not want to go out on that kind of a note.
Oh boy! You think you know someone?
This is
that is a shocker.
Great email from Peter. After Brett Favre's dad died.
No. Very good.
He went there and played one of the games of his life on Monday night against the Raiders.
Bring up the stat line.
Oh, my God.
Give me the stat line.
Who was his tight end? They were making the craziest catches you've ever... No, before that.
Jermichael Finley?
No, way before that. This is like
Max McGee?
2002. I think it was Max McGee. I think he had 3 touchdowns in that game.
Far. What did he do? Where did he go, though? Come on.
It was the highlight reel from that game. The plays that they were...
Touchdown. 311 yards in the first half alone.
Yeah.
31-7 Green Bay at halftime. Finished with 400 yards.
There you go. Again, you can't. A lot of times you can actually handicap human emotion. Is Mike Palm joining the show next?
Coming on. Yeah.
He's coming on. Oh, this is going to be great. The Maestro going to make an early appearance with us on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board. We're live in downtown Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Head out to the Progressive Guest Line now. Thor Nystrom joins the program, does a great job for FantasyLife.com. You can follow him on X at ThorKU, all over college football and the NFL. Thor, good to talk to you today. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. I want to begin here. I'm high on the Vikings this year. We all know how good the division is. I think we all have an understanding of how strong this roster can be this year as well. I think it's one of the best rosters in the entire league. I think the combination of KOC at head coach and Brian Flores at DC is maybe the best in football, certainly top tier. Drawbacks would be the division and the schedule, top 5 hardest schedule going into the league. But I buy into J.G. McCarthy because of what KOC has done with quarterbacks the previous 2 years. For those people who aren't there yet or think that McCarthy just isn't going to be the guy, why do you think they're going to be wrong?
Yeah, the numbers that Vegas dropped initially, and even where they're at now, but certainly when they dropped them initially, it was just way too light. It wasn't reflective of the reality of the roster as it had become. Like you were sort of mentioning, you have one of the NFL's best rosters outside the quarterback position, and you guys know that I love McCarthy. But I think even beyond that, like you would have to have pretty rotten quarterback play, I think, for that team not to get to 9+ wins. And they're not going to get it. McCarthy will succeed. I mean, like O'Connell has never had, his teams have thrown for 4,000 yards or more every year. You guys know the track record. He won games with Josh Dobbs off the street like 2 days later. And people have been sleeping on J.J. McCarthy's game, and the way that he sort of gets forwarded is like, oh, the roster's so good around him and it will prop him up. J.J. McCarthy is going to be a star in the NFL. And I think this thing is going to get dangerous and flammable, now and sort of start taking off. But yeah, the 8.5, even the 9.5 number, I think is light.
Super Bowl contender, all of it, you're here for it?
I mean, I think that they're going to win the North, and I think, yeah, they're a dangerous contender in the North. Like, the only hurdle you have to get over with that is, do you believe in the quarterback, right? And or the play caller with them. But the rest of the pieces are there. They fixed everything. They had one of the NFL's worst interior offensive lines last year. Now they have one of the best. They all the resources they put into that. They struggled with short yardage rushing last year and rushing inside the 10-yard line. They addressed that with the trade for Jordan Mason. The interior defensive line has gotten so much better with the signings of Jonathan Allen and Hargrave. All the holes that they had around the roster have been fixed. And if you just assume that the quarterback play is going to be good, and I think it's going to be very good, they're absolutely an NFC contender.
Who challenges them? Detroit, Green Bay, both? Who's the better team?
Yeah, I mean, in the division, honestly, the team I'm fading is the Lions. I don't like that they lost both their coordinators. You have a head coach that's the CEO motivator type. He's not the X's and O's guy. I think that really hurts. They have a gauntlet scheduled themselves. And then they lost stuff, including recently with the interior starting defensive tackle who's out for the season now. I don't think that roster's as good. Their coaching staff is certainly weighed down. I think they're in line for a regression.
Could you see the Lions finishing in last place in this division, Thor?
We always reserve that spot for the Bears, but so maybe I'll take third place for the Lions, but that's probably how I would have it right now. Vikings, Packers, Lions, Bears. Yeah.
So are you that far down on the Bears going into this season again with Ben Johnson, their new head coach?
Yeah, I think that thing's going to end in disaster, and like from the second that Ben Johnson was fired, I didn't understand it from any angle. First of all, you're Ben Johnson. You've turned down head coaching jobs in the past. You're this guy who's made your name from like this watchmaker type offense that you have that's all based on timing and misdirection, all this sort of stuff. And the quarterback is going to run the concept as called and make the reads as called. Now, the opportunity that you take, it's with a division rival. But not only that, you're locked in with this quarterback who's just a freelancer. Caleb Williams doesn't care the play that you call because he's not going to throw the ball within 3 seconds of the snap, right? Like it's a freelancer guy that wants to dance around and he wants to make stuff up as he goes. It's a playground ball type guy. It is a horrible fit for Ben Johnson. You might as well, it's not a quarterback that ever was going to succeed with Ben Johnson. And so, the fact that there's already issues there, I don't think there's any surprise at all. You're not going to get Caleb Williams to follow your script. I just think it's a really bad fit. And like I said, I think it's going to end in disaster.
Wow. So what are we talking here? What kind of bets do you have on the Bears then? Last place finish, obviously, in the division. Did you go under 8.5 wins?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they dropped the Bears and the Vikings with the exact same win total. You just start laughing. The Bears, I believe it's 12 out of the last 13 years, they have gone under their preseason Vegas win total. Mm-hmm. It's either that or 11 of 12. They always get set up with too high of an expectation. And this one, this was like shooting fish in a barrel because, again, it's this hype coach, but who happens to be a horrible fit for the personnel as you have, the quarterback that you have. So, yeah, that was an easy fade.
Wow. Very strong. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Thor Nystrom. You can follow him on X. He's at ThorKU, FantasyLife.com. They do a terrific job with fantasy football, obviously, throughout the entire year, not just the NFL season from week 1 to week 18. The entire calendar year was what we're talking about here. We discussed this division about an hour ago. Paulie asked me about the Packers, why I'm not buying them as a team that could win the division. I said, because I'm still not there yet with Jordan Love. He's still got to prove it to me. I haven't seen enough from him. Where are you at with him?
I think that's fair. Yeah, like you have a mediocre wide receiving core, and you don't have to take our word for it. Josh Jacobs said they didn't have the wide receiver one. They finally elect to use a first-round pick on that. They used Matthew Golden. I think Matthew Golden's going to be a really, really good NFL wide receiver too. He's not an alpha wide receiver one, and I don't think he's going to develop into that. So you still have sort of that issue, and so their offense probably going to remain around what we've seen it at. That's fine. But on defense, you have this travesty of a cornerback room right now. Their cornerback room wasn't good last year, and now Jair Alexander's gone. Their CB2, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but a couple of days ago, it was like the Valentine guy was number 1. Their cornerback 2 in practice that day was Bo Melton, the converted Rutgers wide receiver that they've kicked over to cornerback because they don't have any bodies out there. Like, they're going to get shredded through the air. It's the thing that you're concerned about with Green Bay. They're solid up front. But in the back end, that's an issue in a division where you have Justin Jefferson and Addison and the Lions' high-power passing attack, et cetera, et cetera.
All right. Is there a play to be made here, like in the division with a season-long player prop? Our buddy, your buddy, Paul Charchian, weeks ago told us to shop around for Jordan Mason futures in terms of scoring touchdowns. We did just that. Is there anything there with him that you like, or anybody else in this division that you think is worthy of a bet?
Yeah, I saw the show that day. That the odds were crashing as Charchian was saying it. It was like a reverse cryptocurrency or something. Like when he was telling people to bet that, the odds just cratered. It was incredible. For me, it would be as far as the Vikings go, the one where I still think there's some real meat on the bone is McCarthy to win Comeback Player of the Year, which is plus, at least last time I seen it was plus 750. McCarthy can't win Rookie of the Year because of the way that the rules are written, but the way that the rules are for the Comeback Player of the Year, this fits with the designation. It's a guy who missed his entire season. So I think people don't think about him like that because it's like, oh, he hasn't taken a snap in a regular season game, but he certainly fits the qualifiers for that award. And if he starts 15-plus games and has the success, even close to the success that I think that he and the Vikings will have, there's not many people that can challenge him for that because there's not many people that sort of fit the designation of what they consider for Comeback Player of the Year.
Interesting. Yeah, we've kicked that around. So you think voters...
You're not the only one to say that. Right.
Yeah, you think voters will look at that and say, I don't care that he missed all of last year. The guy's coming back from a full season of being away, making his first year, basically his rookie season, like you said, but he's not eligible for that award. So they'd say he's going to get my vote?
100%. I mean, this year we don't have the obvious guy, like the feel good, like Hamlin, we've had some of those in the past. And so like the other folks you're looking at, it's like who missed all of last year and then will be a good story in the season. If the Vikings win double-digit games, how many people will be able to compete with McCarthy in that argument? I just, there's not many other names that you could point to, people that are even going to be candidates on that. So getting him at plus 750 to me is a no-brainer.
All right, Thor, we have about a minute left here. Any other win total across the league, or do you have a favorite win total in college football?
One that I really like in college football is I like the over on Oklahoma. The Sooners are a team that I'm buying pretty heavy this year. Yeah, and the win total was only 6.5 for them. I was pretty stunned by that. Last year, they had all kinds of injuries in their wide receiving core. There were several weeks their top 5 receivers were all out with injury, and then they had issues with their quarterback play. Now you bring in John Mateer, quarterback from Wazoo, who is, in my opinion, a legitimate Heisman candidate. You brought in Jaden Ott from Cal. The NFL loves Jaden Ott. Jaden Ott's going to be back this year doing a bunch of stuff. And then they have one of the best OL coaches in the nation, and that guy said that the improvement that he's seen with this offensive line is one of the biggest that he has seen of any of his units, like going, 30, 40 years in coaching, whatever. And then they have Brent Venables for the defense. Oklahoma is going to be back. To me, Oklahoma is a contender in the SEC. That's a team that I think is making the college football playoff, and their win total is only 6.5. They have easy games in the non-conference as well, just utter freebies. To me, that's the best one out there.
Very good.
Great job.
Thor, awesome spot. Thanks for the time. We appreciate that.
Appreciate you, boys.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll dive into the American Conference up next. To me, this is the biggest question surrounding the league the entire year.
the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Feeling great on a Tuesday. This is going to be a very fun hour. In 15 minutes, we'll get to the baseball card that we have coming up. I think we have, I'm going to call this a Hall of Fame submission for what we were talking about earlier today. Biggest betting whiffs of your entire career. I think I was choking during one of the breaks, laughing out loud when I read this. And here, more great betting content as a longtime friend of this show on the network. Lou Finicaro joins the program on the Progressive Guest Line. We'll get some win totals with him. And I think some betting whiffs as well. Lou, good afternoon. Thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. It's such a great, exciting time of the year.
Well, you're looking good with the scruff. You got to make that a mainstay here, pal.
I can grow it on my fingernails, just not on my head.
All right. So a couple years ago, you came on, said, gentlemen, I got one for you. And people were like, I'm not so sure, Lou. The Chiefs are going to go under. They did. Last year, we were in lockstep. We love the Niners to go under. Never a sweat. This year, we can't wait. What do you want to do with the Buffalo Bills?
The first thing I want to say here is that this handicap this year with the Bills feels so much similar to the handicap 2 years ago with the Chiefs. I'm so glad you mentioned that. At the time, I thought the Chiefs had very little chance, based on the analytics, to make 12 wins as a team. I thought they could win the division, the conference, and the Super Bowl. And in fact, they did all of that. But if you'll remember, Antonio Pierce brings the Raiders to a Monday night game in Kansas City, and that's where that season win total was won. Here's one thing that I absolutely know about the NFL, and that is right now, guys, nobody knows a dadgum thing. I've put in hours and hours of study on each team over the last month, and I know zero. Okay, the difference is when we get to week one and now, most people believe they know something when they don't, and I think those bets make it easy for the contrarian to read the people that don't know they don't know and go the opposite way. And I think this Bills handicap this year is one. And so here's how I will start with the Bills positives. I mean, coaching continuity means a ton. They have coaching continuity, no turnovers in the ranks. Quarterback Allen, a superstar. I will say this, they're very, very tied to quarterback Allen. They have the fifth easiest strength of schedule in the NFL this year. That's easily a positive. And their offensive line, they budget 14th amount of money in the NFL to their O-line, but the O-line performs better to a 9 or 10 rank. Now, the front seven is in need of some repair, but they bring in Joey Bosa. That's a positive. And they play an easier schedule of pass offenses this year, which is really going to help the weakest secondary in all of the NFL, the Buffalo Bills secondary. But they play tougher defenses this year, so the offense is going to see a much more challenging, they're going to be challenged more, and they also play a much more difficult schedule of rush offenses. So that defensive front seven is going to be tested. Now, here are the concerns with the Bills, and I'm going to use notes, so I want to get this right. In the last 3 years, they've played 58 games because of playoffs and everything. That's 19.1 games a year. That's a lot of games, guys. And so defense, we're going to talk a little bit about the defense, which is foundational to this handicap. NFL average in a playoff loss, NFL average defenses give up 18 points. The last playoff losses for the Bills, let's go last 5 playoff losses for the Bills, they've given up 24.6 points to opposing offenses. Last year, the Bills plus 28 in the turnover ratio. I mean, there hasn't been a plus 24 in a decade in the NFL. So let's go back the last decade, okay? And let's track any team that finished the season with 10 or better turnovers and track them to the following year. Every team at 10 or more, and the average of that decade was 12.5 turnovers. Average wins for those teams, 11.1. The next year, the average wins were 9.2 because the turnovers went from over 10 to plus 2.3. There will be turnover regression for the Bills this year. Make no mistake about it. Now let's talk a little bit more about their defense, which is really not good. And don't take my word for it. Let's track this. 2023, 10th in yards allowed. 2024, 24th in yards allowed. 2023, the Bills forced punts at the 9th best rate in the NFL. Last year, 31st rate. Last year, the Bill D was absolutely horrendous, but they were bailed out by a plus 24 turnover ratio. That is foundational as to what's going to happen this year. Last year, the Bills defense was 30th in that they allowed 36% of opponents' drives to get into the red zone. Again, they were non-existent, but turnovers changed everything for them. Now, let's get into some net rest. 2016 to 2024, that's an 8-year span. The Bills averaged plus 4 net rest, third best in the NFL. This year, however, the Bills have a net 7 negative rest advantage. That is 28th in the NFL. So there's a huge difference from what they're used to what they're going to get this year. Further, weeks 10 to 18, the Bills have a negative 10-day rest, again, backloaded into the schedule, and they have 5 games where their opponent has more than 7 days to prepare for them. I see regression in the Bills' turnovers. The Bills' offense, let's talk about them a little bit. 18.1 touchdowns last year, above expectation. That's coming down, guys, based on the defenses they're facing. And oh, by the way, have we even mentioned that running back Cook has said that he deserves his money? You got a potential holdout in the running back. Injury luck last year. Last year, the Bill offensive line was the second healthiest in the league. 80% continuity. That's going to be hard to hold again this year. Finally, each week 1 starter for the Bills. I hope you can't hear that jet going overhead. Each week 1 starter for the Bills played 900 plus snaps last year. These are all items that alone mean very, very little, but taken together paint a picture for me of a team that's driven by a great quarterback. Anything. This kid, Allen, gets a hangnail and misses a couple games. The Bills are in big trouble. Offensive line health is going to be hard to mimic what they did last year. Got the Cook holdout. You had that 18.1 TD above expectation, the great amount of turnovers. Last season was a perfect storm for the Bills. They won, 13 games, won a playoff game or 2. This year, I believe they are a real threat for the division, for the conference, and for the Super Bowl, but I don't believe they're winning 12 games, and here's how I want to bet it. At DraftKings currently, which is where I was able to pry the best price, under 11.5 is a plus 145. Now, if you can shop and find a better number, that's great. Under 10.5, usually if you can find a full point or a full 100 basis points difference, meaning if we could find the Bills at 10.5 under minus 245, that'd be a pretty good number. But most everywhere around the country where you look, I've been scouring, the Bills under 10.5 is a minus 200, except for one place. What's that place? The Circa. Circa has the Bills under 10.5 plus 275. And I think there's a real strong reason why they have that. I think it's because they're getting a lot of action on the Bills overs. And I'm more than willing, based on what I've just shared, to put myself into each of those 2 bets, which I've already made. Under 11.5 at plus 145, as well at Circa under 10.5 at plus 275.
Good God, that was awesome. Such good analysis, and I hope it comes in for you just based on how much time and research you put into that for sure. You also gave out the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago with us under You Like It More Even Now. Quickly, we're up against it about 90 seconds here. You have a couple of big betting whiffs in your career. What are they?
Yeah, the big betting whiffs in my career. First one, taking Mike Spinks against Mike Tyson in the 90-second demolish. I didn't even get to drink my cocktail. The next one was one I was on the right side of, and that's the Dodgers when they played the A's in 1988. The A's were the amazing A's, and they were going to roll through the Dodgers, but Kirk Gibson crawls out of the dugout, hits a home run to tie it up, and the Dodgers win 5-4 in game one and go on to win the series 4 games to one. Excuse me.
So what was the one with Tyson you said?
Tyson faced Mike Spinks.
Right, you forgot.
Tyson was 12-15 to 1, and I knew Mike Spinks was going to knock him out, and Tyson knocked Mike Spinks out in 90 seconds.
Okay, all right.
He wet himself in the ring.
Yeah.
He was so scared.
He was scared out of his mind.
He was.
All right, follow him on X. He's at Gamlu. Absolutely worth a follow after that breakdown. Thank you, pal. That was dynamite.
Thanks so much, guys. Good luck, everybody.
Be good.
Final week to grab our football special, just $175. Your all-access pass, the VSiN Pro Access, across every sport through the Super Bowl. The NFL Guide's already out. College Football Guide hits next week. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get it. The daily email with all the best bets, every host and guest, the betting splits. Get it now before Thursday night. VSiN.com/subscribe. $175 through the Super Bowl.
Starting pitchers are on a 14-2 overrun with their K-prop against one of the best teams in baseball. Find out who next.